Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special episode of Off the Mark. I'm not going to consider it episode 27 because it's really not. It's kind of just sidebar. As we have all seen just this past about 20 minutes ago now, President Joe Biden did make his very first public appearance and presentation and speech in the first 50 days of his presidency. A lot of people, a lot of folks have been waiting on both sides of the aisle for him to say something. He's been using his press secretary, Miss Jennifer Jordan Polanski. Anyway, he's been using her as his mouthpiece for the last, as I said, the last 50 days or so. So without further ado, I'm kind of just, I want to do this thing with you guys. Let's just see how it goes. If you didn't watch it, maybe we can watch together. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I've seen bits and pieces. And what I've seen so far is that it's basically a giant commercial for the COVID vaccine that either you have had already, are scared to get, are about to get, and you're going to be adamant about getting, and or you've already had COVID and really don't find the need to get it. So wherever you land when it comes to the COVID vaccine, this commercial's your guy. I'm telling you right now, because they got this guy is really the COVID vaccine, you know what I mean? Like he's really pushing it. And that's just like the first 3 minutes that I watched of it. So mind the Peppa Pig stickers on my table here. I apologize about those. I can't get them off. I've tried. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let's do this. Yeah, let's do it. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
We're hit with a virus that was met with silence and spread unchecked. Denials for days, weeks, then months. That led to more deaths, more infections, more stress, and more loneliness. Photos and videos from 2019 feel like they were taken in another era. The last vacation, the last birthday with friends, the last holiday with extended family. While it was different for everyone, we all lost something. A collective suffering, a collective sacrifice. A year filled with the loss of life and the loss of living for all.
So he mentions, and I'm not going to do this the entire 20 minutes. I swear to God, I'm not. But the very first thing he mentions is how the COVID vaccine wasn't taken seriously at first, and how many hundreds of people died because of the lack of responsibility taken, and how it wasn't taken seriously at first. Now, let me remind you guys that in the very beginning, in December of 2019, the very last Christmas that Mr. Joe Biden just mentioned, it was already being, the news was already being reported in China that COVID-19 did exist. Coronavirus was being spread throughout China, throughout Wuhan at the time. And President Donald Trump at the time, a few weeks later in January, actually made a move to ban travel through China. They called it the travel ban. If everybody remembers that phrase, there's a reason you remember it. It's because it was something used to make Donald Trump look like a complete racist. So yeah, that's that.
All this. But in the loss, we saw how much there was to gain in appreciation, respect, and gratitude. Finding light in the darkness is a very American thing to do. In fact, it may be the most American thing we do. And that's what we've done. We've seen frontline and essential workers risking their lives, sometimes losing them, to save and help others. Researchers and scientists racing for a vaccine. And so many of you, as Hemingway wrote, being strong in all the broken places. I know it's been hard. I truly know. As I told you before, I carry a card in my pocket with the number of Americans who have died from COVID to date. It's on the back of my schedule. As of now, total deaths in America, 527,726. That's more deaths than in World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and 9/11 combined.
I knew he was going to say 9/11. Again, I haven't seen this part, but of course, who's not going to bring up 9/11? We all remember 9/11. So this is all fear mongering, fear tactics. Excuse me, I should have grabbed water before I started doing this. um, another thing is his God damn it, I'm dying here. I'm so hoping she can edit this out. Woo! She better edit this out, I swear to God. I will pay her extra. I will pay her something. How about a Patreon, you guys? Okay, so hopefully we can edit this out. But anyway, as I was saying, the other thing he doesn't mention, aside from the extremely inflated numbers of the COVID deaths, whether they're real numbers or not, I'm not going to argue that at this point. To me, it's irrelevant. What is relevant is that there were certain numbers being covered up by certain governors that were appointed by Democrats. The governor of Michigan right now is being investigated. As we all know, Governor Cuomo is being investigated for sex crimes and also crimes against humanity, which is what they really are. And I'm going to keep saying that and keep reiterating it. And so is Governor Newsom, sending in COVID positive patients into nursing homes and then forcing them back out into the hospitals and just having this snake eating its own tail deal with these hospitals and with these state funded facilities. So he doesn't mention any of that, and he probably won't mention any of that. Sorry for dying there for a second.
There were husbands, wives, sons and daughters, grandparents, friends, neighbors, young and old. They leave behind loved ones, unable to truly grieve or to heal, even to have a funeral. But I'm also thinking about everyone else who lost this past year to natural causes, by cruel fate of accident or other disease. They too died alone. They too leave behind loved ones who are hurting badly. You know, you've often heard me say before, I talk about the longest walk any parent can make is up a short flight of stairs to his child's bedroom to say, I'm sorry, I lost my job. Can't be here anymore. Like my dad told me when he lost his job in Scranton. So many of you had to make that same walk this past year. You lost your job. You closed your business. Facing eviction.
He's reminding you he's a small town boy from Scranton. He's not from Scranton. Look it up.
Homelessness, hunger, a loss of control. Maybe worst of all, a loss of hope. Watching a generation of children who may be set back up to a year or more because they've not been in school because of their loss of learning. It's the details of life that matter the most. And we miss those details. The big details and the small moments. Weddings, birthdays, graduations. All the things that needed to happen, but didn't. The first date, the family reunions, the Sunday night rituals. It's all has exacted a terrible cost on the psyche of so many of us. For we are fundamentally a people who want to be with others, to talk, to laugh, to hug, to hold one another. But this virus has kept us apart. And grandparents haven't seen their children or grandchildren. Parents haven't seen their kids. Kids haven't seen their friends. The things we used to do that always filled us with joy have become things we couldn't do and broke our hearts. Too often, we've turned against one another. A mask, the easiest thing to do to save lives. Sometimes it divides us. States pitted against one another instead of working with each other. Vicious hate crimes against Asian Americans who've been attacked, harassed, blamed, and scapegoated. At this very moment, so many of them are fellow Americans. They're on the front lines of this pandemic trying to save lives. And still, they're forced to live in fear for their lives just walking down streets in America. It's wrong, it's un-American, and it must stop. Look, we know what we need to do to beat this virus. Tell the truth. Follow the scientists and the science. Work together. Put trust and faith in our government to fill its most important function, which is protecting the American people. No function more important. You need to remember the government isn't some foreign force in a distant capital. No, it's us, all of us. We the people. For you and I, that America thrives when we give our hearts, when we turn our hands to common purpose. And right now, my friends, we're doing just that. And I have to say, as your president, I'm grateful to you. Last summer, I was in Philadelphia and I met a small business owner, a woman. I asked her, I said, what do you need most? Never forget what she said to me. She said, looking me in the eye, she said, I just want the truth. The truth. Just tell me the truth. Think of that. My fellow Americans, you're owed nothing less than the truth. And for all of you asking when things will get back to normal, here is the truth. The only way to get our lives back, to get our economy back on track, is to beat the virus. You've been hearing me say that for while I was running and the last 50 days I've been president. But this is one of the most complex operations we've ever undertaken as a nation in a long time. That's why I'm using every power I have as president of the United States to put us on a war footing to get the job done. Sounds like hyperbole, but I mean it, a war footing. And thank God we're making some real progress now.
He said it himself.
In my first full day in office, I outlined for you a comprehensive strategy to beat this pandemic. We've spent every day since attempting to carry it out. 2 months ago, this country didn't have nearly enough vaccine supply to vaccinate all or ever near all of the American public. But soon we will. We've been working with vaccine manufacturers, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, to manufacture and purchase hundreds of millions of doses of these 3 safe, effective vaccines. And now, at the direction and with the assistance of my administration, Johnson & Johnson is working together with a competitor, Merck, to speed up and increase the capacity to manufacture new Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is one shot. In fact, just yesterday, I announced, and I met with the CEOs of both companies, I announced our plan to buy an additional 100 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. These 2 companies, competitors, have come together for the good of the nation, and they should be applauded for it. It's truly a national effort, just like we saw during World War II. Now, because of all the work we've done, we'll have enough vaccine supply for all adults in America by the end of May. That's months ahead of schedule. And we're mobilizing thousands of vaccinators to put the vaccine in one's arm, calling active duty military, FEMA, retired doctors and nurses, administrators, and then those to administer the shots. And we've been creating more places to get the shots. We've made it possible for you to get a vaccine at nearly any one of 10,000 pharmacies across the country, just like you get your flu shot. We're also working with governors and mayors in red states and blue states to set up and support nearly 600 federally supported vaccination centers that administers hundreds of thousands of shots per day. You can drive up to a stadium or a large parking lot, get your shot, never leave your car, and drive home in less than an hour. We've been sending vaccines to hundreds of community health centers all across America, located in underserved areas. And we've been deploying, and we will deploy more mobile vehicles and pop-up clinics to meet you where you live, so those who are least able to get the vaccine are able to get it. We continue to work on making at-home testing available. And we've been focused on serving people in the hardest hit communities of this pandemic: Black, Latino, Native American, and rural communities. So what does all this add up to? When I took office 50 days ago, only 8% of Americans, after months, only 8% of those over the age of 65 had gotten their first vaccination. Today, that number is 65%. Just 14% of Americans over the age of 75, 50 days ago had gotten their first shot. Today, that number is well over 70%. With new guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, that came out on Monday, it means simply this: millions and millions of grandparents who went months without being able to hug their grandkids can now do so. And the more people are fully vaccinated, the CD will continue to provide additional guidance on what you can do in the workplace, places of worship with your friends,
Yikes.
as well as travel. When I came into office, you may recall, I set a goal that many of you said was that kind of way over the top. I said I intended to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days in office. Tonight, I can say we're not only going to meet that goal, we're going to beat that goal, because we're actually on track to reach this goal of 100 million shots in arms on my 60th day in office. No other country in the world has done this. None. I want to talk about the next steps we're thinking about. First, tonight, I'm announcing that I will direct all states, tribes, and territories to make all adults, people 18 and over, eligible to be vaccinated no later than May 1. Let me say that again. All adult Americans will be eligible to get a vaccine no later than May 1. That's much earlier than expected. Let me be clear. That doesn't mean everyone's going to have that shot immediately, but it means you'll be able to get in line beginning May 1. Every adult will be eligible to get their shot. And to do this, we're going to go from 1 million shots a day that I promised in December, before I was sworn in, to beating our current pace of 2 million shots a day, outpacing the rest of the world. Secondly, at the time when every adult is eligible in May, we will launch, with our partners, new tools to make it easier for you to find the vaccine and where to get the shot, including a new website that will help you first find the place to get vaccinated and the one nearest you. No more searching day and night for an appointment for you and your loved ones. Thirdly, with the passage of the American Rescue Plan, and I thank again the House and Senate for passing it, and my announcement last month of a plan to vaccinate teachers and school staff, including bus drivers, we can accelerate massive nationwide effort to reopen our schools safely and meet my goal that I stated at the same time, about 100 million shots, of opening a majority of K through 8 schools in my first 100 days in office. This is going to be the #1 priority of my new Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona. Fourth, in the coming weeks, we will issue further guidance on what you can and cannot do once fully vaccinated, to lessen the confusion, to keep people safe, and encourage more people to get vaccinated. And finally, fifth, and maybe most importantly, I promise I will do everything in my power. I will not relent until we beat this virus. But I need you, the American people. I need you. I need every American to do their part. And that's not hyperbole. I need you.
He said it
You
again.
can get vaccinated when it's
He
your
said it
turn. You
again.
can find an opportunity.
Holy shit.
And to help your family, your friends, your neighbors get vaccinated as well. Because here's the point. If we do all this, if we do our part, if we do this together, by July the 4th, there's a good chance you, your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout or a barbecue and celebrate Independence Day. That doesn't mean large events with lots of people together, but it does mean small groups will be able to get together. After this long, hard year, that will make this Independence Day something truly special, where we not only mark our independence as a nation, but we begin to mark our independence from this virus. But to get there, we can't let our guard down. This fight is far from over, as I told the woman in Pennsylvania. I'll tell you the truth. But July 4th with your loved ones is the goal. But a lot can happen. Conditions can change. The scientists have made clear that things may get worse again as new variants of the virus spread. We've got work to do to ensure that everyone has confidence in the safety and effectiveness of all 3 vaccines. So my message to you is this: listen to Dr. Fauci, one of the most distinguished and trusted voices in the world.
That's not
He's assured us
hyperbole.
the vaccines are safe. They underwent rigorous scientific review. I know they're safe. Vice President Harris and I know they're safe. That's why we got the vaccine publicly in front of cameras.
During
for the
Trump's
world to see,
reign, by the way.
so you could see us do it. The First Lady and the Second Gentleman also got vaccinated. Talk to your family, friends, your neighbors, the people you know best who've gotten the vaccine. We need everyone to get vaccinated. We need everyone to keep washing their hands, stay socially distanced,
Really?
and keep wearing the mask as recommended by the CDC. Because even if we devote every resource we have, beating this virus and getting back to normal depends on national unity. And national unity isn't just how politics and politicians vote in Washington, or what the loudest voices say on cable or online. Unity is what we do together as fellow Americans. Because if we don't stay vigilant and the conditions change,
Off the
then
mark.
we may have to reinstate restrictions to get back on track. And please, we don't want to do that again. We've made so much progress. This is not the time to let up. Just as we were emerging from a dark winter into a hopeful spring and summer is not the time to not stick with the rules. I'll close with this. We've lost so much over the last year. We've lost family and friends. We've lost businesses and dreams we spent years building.
He's closing exactly the way he opened.
We've lost time with each other. And our children have lost so much time with their friends, time with their schools. No graduation ceremonies this spring. No graduations from college, high school, moving up ceremonies. You know, and there's something else we lost. We lost faith in whether our government and our democracy can deliver on really hard things for the American people. But as I stand here tonight, we're proving once again something I've said time and time again to them, probably tired of hearing me say it. I say it to foreign leaders and domestic alike. It's never, ever a good bet to bet against the American people. America is coming back. The development, manufacture, and distribution of vaccines in record time is a true miracle of science. It's one of the most extraordinary achievements any country has ever accomplished. We also just saw the Perseverance rover land on Mars. Stunning images of our dreams that are now a reality. Another example of the extraordinary American ingenuity, commitment, and belief in science and one another. And today, I signed into law the American Rescue Plan, an historic piece of legislation that delivers immediate relief to millions of people. Includes $1,400 in direct rescue checks, payments. That means a typical family of 4 earning about $110,000 will get checks for $5,600 deposited if they have direct deposit or in a check, a treasury check. It extends unemployment benefits. It helps small businesses. It lowers healthcare premiums for many. It provides food and nutrition, keeps families in their homes, and it will cut child poverty in this country in half, according to the experts. And it funds all the steps I've just described to beat the virus and create millions of jobs. In the coming weeks and months, I'll be traveling along with the First Lady, the Vice President, the Second Gentleman, members of my cabinet, to speak directly to you, to tell you the truth about how the American Rescue Plan meets the moment. And if it fails at any place, I will acknowledge that it failed, but it will not. About how after long, dark years, one whole year, there is hope and light of better days ahead. If we all do our part, this country will be vaccinated soon. Our economy will be on the mend. Our kids will be back in school. We'll have proven once again that this country can do anything, hard things, big things, important things. Over a year ago, no one could have imagined what we were about to go through. But now, we're coming through it. It's a shared experience that binds us together as a nation. We are bound together by the loss and the pain of the days that have gone by. We're also bound together by the hope and the possibilities of the days in front of us. My fervent prayer for our country is that after all we've been through, we'll come together as one people, one nation, one America. I believe we can and we will. We're seizing this moment. And history, I believe, will record. We faced and overcame one of the toughest and darkest periods in this nation's history. Darkest we've ever known. I promise you, we'll come out stronger with a renewed faith in ourselves, a renewed commitment to one another, to our communities, and to our country. This is the United States of America. And there's nothing, from the bottom of my heart, I believe this, there's nothing we can't do when we do it together.
All right, I've had enough. So he didn't say much of anything, did he? He tugged on your heartstrings twice for, I don't know, 24 minutes? For what, 9 minutes and then another 9 minutes at the end? I don't know what it was. We didn't get to do this. We didn't get to do that. People were dying and this and that. And he did the same exact thing at the end, right in the middle, though, right in the meat of it. Vaccine commercial. And I don't understand. If you're eligible for it by May 1st, where every American's eligible for it by May 1st, it almost sounds like he's implying that they're setting it up to force it on everybody. Vaccines that haven't been tested, no way in hell they can theoretically be tested and actually work without major side effect issues being predicted in the future, be it the near future or far. Irresponsible. The entire thing is being handled just so completely irresponsible from the beginning, if you ask me. Donald Trump isn't a scientist. He's an economist and he's a businessman and he's a president and he did his part. He's not a miracle worker. The same miracle worker Joe Biden isn't, right? They lied to you for an entire year. They lied to you for an entire year about a fucking mask, about a stupid lockdown. He's going to create millions and millions of jobs. Did you not hear him just say that? Where are those jobs going to come from? Pedo Joe. Where are those jobs going to come from? Nobody's working because nothing's open. We're going to open back up? Really? Where are those businesses that had to shut down going to get the money to open back up? Oh, the government's going to fund them. Right. Government funds. Mm-hmm. Where does the government get their money from? I was watching a video the other day of Schitt's Creek, and it's Eugene Levy and his son, baby Levy, forgot his name, but they're going back and forth, and he tells his dad, he tells Eugene Levy, oh, what is this? He's like, it's a tax write-off. He's like, a tax write-off? He's like, yeah. He's like, do you know what a tax write-off is? He's like, yeah, if it's a business expense, the government pays you back for it. And they're basically going back and forth. He's like, well, who writes it off? He's like, I don't know, the people that write things off. That's us, right? This pandemic happened at the expense of the American people. Was there a variant of the flu that was released into the air, be it on purpose or by accident? Yes. Was it global? Yes. Is it real? Yes. I've had it. And I'm not getting the vaccine because I've had it. And if that pisses you off to hear that, thank Joe Biden, because he's the one who tugged on your emotions right now, not me. He's the one who reminded you of all the people that passed away, whether you know somebody personal or not. That's heartbreaking what he just said. I'm sorry I'm pointing behind me because he's behind me, but that's heartbreaking. Even for me to even hear that. I'm a normal human being and I still have feelings, but I'm not going to let what he's saying take over what the truth is. And the truth is they took everything away from us. 2 weeks to stop the spread. That's a year ago today, I think. A year ago today. And look what we did. Look what happened with those 2 weeks. An entire year later. 2 weeks to stop the spread. Lockdowns, people left unemployed. All of this, I think, is going to be a push for a vaccine pass. It's already happening in Israel. You can't do certain things. You can't go certain places unless you have the vaccine. It's happening here. And because you guys sitting there crying about all the COVID deaths that did or may or may not have happened, and I apologize if you have lost, personally, I've lost a family member with COVID symptoms. I'm sorry. But at this point, it's time to look into how they exactly passed away. Given that Cuomo, Whitmer, and Newsom, all of them at least questioned, 2 of them accused of mishandling information and COVID deaths and sending people to their graves. If you lost somebody, you should question somebody. I'd be pissed. I am pissed for all of you who still don't see it. Another thing I want to look up is how many times did he say hyperbole? He said it 2 times. This is not hyperbole. Usually when somebody needs to convince you that something isn't something, it's a good red flag that it's exactly what it is. So keep that in mind too. He mentioned the dark winter again, which I want to look up in the Gematria with Miss Kali when I get a chance. And he mentioned Miguel Cardona, who I do not know, as the Secretary of Education. So I'm also going to look him up because he's not familiar to me. Yeah, well, other than that, just wanted to throw this out you. I want to spend some time with you guys. I hope you guys watched this with me and kind of enjoyed it with me and aren't too pissed off at me for interrupting and for dying at the beginning there. My bad. Yeesh. I gotta quit the cigars. But yeah, I just wanted to do this with you guys, especially if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it on your own. It's kind of, if you ask me, sometimes things are a lot more fun when we get to watch it with somebody else. And I feel like that's what I did with you guys. So yeah, whoever watches with me today, thank you so much. We will see you for episode 27 Thursday, I believe. Monday? Well, we're recording Monday. Maybe I think we're releasing it Tuesday. I don't know how it's going. I don't even know why I'm telling you guys our personal plans. I don't even know why I'm going there. On Wednesday we have lunch. But yeah, Miss Kali actually is at work right now. She's actually, I'm very proud of her. She's doing her thing. So she couldn't join me in this video. It's probably better that she didn't, so that she didn't have to be caught up in my hyperbole. Anyway, so I've been your host, Miss Tootie O. Again, thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. Stay focused, stay vigilant, but not his kind of vigilant. This guy used our phrase. Can you believe that? All right. Well, love you guys. Patreon.com /OffTheMarkCast, Instagram, and yeah, peace. Love you.